We're going to take a look at a typical week's training that we do at this time of the training year, which is the autumn. Now I've got visiting athlete Bora over from Hungary. She's jumped 6 meters 20 and is under 20. So I thought I might as well take you through the workouts that we did in the week that she was with me here in the UK. This training week was all about increasing rate of force development, speed, and for me also to see where she was technically. Now that of course reflects upon the other athletes in my UK-based training group as well. It's important that you start to progress your training so it gets faster and faster, but always has a fast base. So let's take a look at a couple of sessions that we've done this past week that develop speed, rate of force development, and greater technical proficiency. Right, this is my typical Monday session, and it's got a lot of restricted arm action drills. So basically you can't utilize your arms when doing, for example, running, skipping, and takeoff drills, for example. Now, in this particular session, we had hands-on hips. In the next block, block number 2, we will move to holding a medicine ball, cradling it, or at arm's length. But you can see on screen now the various drills that Bora and the rest of the group was doing in this particular workout. Not using the arms is also a way to hold back speed and rate of force development slightly, because when you use the arms you can obviously apply more force. So with the restriction you're a little bit hindered, but you're still trying to impart a lot of force through the legs, for example, when doing a skipping drill or a heel recovery drill. So therefore, we are holding back very slightly, and we can build upon that and move up to faster and faster outputs as we move into blocks 2 and 3. At the end of the session, we also did 8 60 meters with 90 seconds recovery. Now, in the past, I normally get the group members to run individually at any pace which they wanted to. However, this year, I've decided to let them run against each other. Now, that obviously makes them want to run faster. So I've got to be mindful of how fast they're going and the tax that is going to put on their bodies. But the idea is that by working faster, running together, we're going to push up, slightly turn up the velocity in this particular training block. And I'll be interested to see whether or not that helps with improved speed in the subsequent training block. Of course, all the workouts that I do include pre-training, preconditioning drills, such as balance drills, isometrics and eccentrics, and in-place sprint drills to protect, for example, the hamstrings. Now, I made a video on pre-training and I'll put a link on screen now so that you can check that out in more detail. Okay, let's take a look at the second track-based workout of the training week. Now this one utilises in-place drills, more so than the previous workout in units 1 and 2. So we do a lot of heel recovery work, as I mentioned, for pre-training, preconditioning value. We also do lots of cycling drills and more specific plyometrics. Now we moved on to specific takeoff drills in this particular unit. So we've got penultimate step drills and free leg landing drills, for example. Each drill unit across a training block, a training week, is rotated, so they don't do exactly the same unit every session, albeit the theme of the session is broadly similar. I hope that makes sense. Now, sort of reversing what happened in workout 1, we finished this session with restricted arm drills. So they ran 8 40 meters with hands on hips, and this was done individually, so they didn't have to race and they could focus on good technique, or if they were tired, run at a reduced pace. Having said that, I expect them to all run between 70 to 90% on these efforts. In fact, it's very hard not to run fast with your hands on your hips because you need to create the momentum through your legs to get going. Just for reference, I do increase the repetitions and the distances over which the drills are carried out across this training block. So for example, in previous weeks, we'll have done 6 40 meters with hands on hips. And as I said, today, or rather in that particular session, we did 8. Bora really benefited from training with other people. In Hungary, she's not able to train with others, and therefore the intensity of her workouts sometimes isn't as great. Now, there's a careful balance between training with others in a group and training individually, because in a group environment, sometimes, depending on the training you're doing, you can push too hard. However, conversely, if you're on your own, you don't have that motivation that comes from having others around you. So it's trying to get the balance, and it would be better for Bora if she was able to train with others more regularly. Do watch the training load and make sure that you're not racing for racing's sake and that you're focusing on what you need to work on technically. When Bora was here, we were able to do 2 strength and conditioning sessions, and that enabled me to have a much closer look at her technique and her power levels and get a better idea of how to program her training for the next training blocks. So you're seeing some of the exercises that we did. There's a mixture of muscular action exercises, so eccentric hack squats, for example, and concentric exercises. One way to manipulate and periodize rate of force development, power, is by utilizing different lengths of pull, for example, when doing a clean. So we will start with cleans from the floor, which has a longer travel and therefore is slower, and then mix and match across the training blocks shorter range of movement cleans as well, such as hang cleans from just below the knee and cleans from just below the hips, where there's a much quicker movement involved. And that's a way of stimulating the neural system and gradually upping the rate of force development. Now you can also do that with plyometric exercises. So here you can see Bora doing various step-up type of exercises. So we've got foot hovering over the box top for a plyometric drive up. Then we've got the foot on top of the box for a more concentric, slower rate of force development drive up. That would be more beneficial, for example, for the sprint start. Again, as I said with the weight training exercises, it's all about periodizing the rate of force development and the range of movement so that we can get higher and faster power outputs. We also took the time to do some testing and some jumping. Now I'll go into more detail about the testing in another video, as I also tested my main group as well. So we can look at the performances which they achieved on the various tests. And for reference, the tests were standing long jump, standing triple jump, 4 bounds and a jump from standing, and fly 20 meters with a 10-meter split. If you want to find out more about testing and its relevance and how I change it across the training year, then do check out this particular video. Okay, the final track-based session, although it wasn't on a track. It was on local hills and bridge steps that we often utilize for 5 to 6 weeks at this time of the training year. Now, Bora has been doing similar in Budapest. However, the steps that she utilizes are not quite the same. We're very lucky to have these wide treads that are about 1.5 meters wide. So you can actually run down them, jump down them, hop down them pretty safely, which is not the case when you've got very narrow steps, which are better for running up rather than going down and up. So on screen now, you're seeing various drills that we did on that particular day. Before we went to the bridge, we did some drills on a very shallow gradient, and I've made lots of videos on this particular session and why we do it. So do check out the videos on the channel. All in all, I could see that Bora had progressed from the various training programs that I've set since she began training in September, and indeed from previous years. With the way that I train, we do find that it's very easy to pick back up and get back into the program quickly. Because the athletes will have done the drills over and over again, they will know, their muscle memory will know how to coordinate and pattern, and also their bodies will quickly get used to the impacts involved. So that's crucial. Many people start with a slower based training program with less impacts. And that means that the body needs time to adjust to get used to those impacts, speeds and ranges of movement, fast ranges of movement. However, with my training approach, by training fast and high intensities, literally from session number 1, we don't have problems in terms of literally trying to keep up with speed and power development. Nor do we seem to have too many problems with technical learning. That's for the experienced jumpers. Obviously, those who are new to the group need to spend time learning how to perfect the movements before they become proficient. If you'd like to find out more specifically about how I program training and what's specifically in each workout across a 4 to 5 week training block, then do consider becoming a channel member at coach athlete level. In that area of the channel, I post my training sessions, workouts and training blocks and answer specific queries on how that training is periodized. So if interested, head over to the channel's homepage, click on the membership button and you'll be taken through to the Coach Athlete offering. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.